Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. Man that canners, how is your day going? I hope you're either listening to this on your drive to work or sipping on your coffee, overlooking some incredible view somewhere, because that's where I'm actually recording it from the office. I've changed the office up and looking out over the Story Bridge here in Brisbane, which is a cracking view. So I'm very lucky to be able to do that. Today's guest is Matt Sinkovitz. Now, this conversation was really interesting. We're talking about porn. I know we had a group discussion with a few members of our Strong Men of Value Academy recently. By recently, I mean within the last 6 months. And it was very well received because we were talking about our experiences, how we were introduced to it, all of that sort of stuff. But Matty himself runs a program called Porn to Purpose. And he's been working in the mindfulness, spiritual development for over a decade now. So he has a great deal of experience, but he himself overcame 20 years of, had a compulsive relationship with porn, which I know a lot of blokes can definitely relate to. But within this episode, we talk about, how you can end your toxic relationship with porn. Also, I guess, identifying whether your relationship with porn is toxic or not. But how by doing this, you can really reclaim your power and create a life worth living. We also talk about the 2 keys to creating long-term abstinence from porn for those who want to bloody keep their hands to themselves. 3 steps to quitting porn. We discuss how porn is derailing your purpose and also sabotaging you as a leader. So some very interesting things there, gents. But do you know what the crazy thing was? I asked Matty, I was like, do you think we just need to stop watching porn? Because, well, that was an honest question I had. And he said no. So I really love the fact that he comes from personal experience. He has a lot of credentials behind how he teaches and how he's formulated his programs. However, it's not one of those, you've got to cut this out of your life sort of conversation. So for everyone who is sweating thinking this one's not for me and I don't think I could ever do that, listen in. You're going to take a whole heap away from this episode with Matty. Gents, as we're wrapping up 2021, I know for some people it's been a shocker. For others, it has been the best year ever. And for me, I like to think that every year I'm getting better, I'm learning more, and I'm really getting more dialed in on what I'm creating for myself and where my life's going, which is, I think, is fucking very exciting. And I hope wherever you're listening to this, you can, hand over heart, just go, I gave it a good crack this year, and I'm very excited for 2022 because it's going to be better. We've had some rough times, I know everyone, but you guys listen to this because you want to be better. And I believe anyone who wants to be better knows that we need to step up, knows that we need to be the ones who are going to change our life. No one else is going to do it for us. So we're all on board with that, which is brilliant. So gentlemen, stay tuned and remember, get in that free Facebook group so you can get the first dibs on when our Set Your Year Up for Success webinar is coming. That one will be a free one. But also, obviously, within that, I'm going to talk to you guys about the launch of our 12-week block within the Strong Men of Value Academy, which kicks off Monday, the 17th of January. And that goes for 12 weeks, and it is going to be fucking exciting. I've been working, honestly, the last 7 weeks just on the back end, the systems, the processes, the content, the guest speakers, how it's going to flow. I'm very, very excited for it, and I cannot wait to have our 100-member crew involved in that. And like I've said, all over social media and everywhere, there are limited spaces. We're keeping it to 100. We already have 76 members. So do the math there. There's 24 spaces left. So if you want to lock yourself in for that, join now. Don't wait. Join now. Dabble around and get ready to kick off with us on the 17th of January next year. I'm pumped for it. Anyway, guys, that's enough excitement from me. I am really looking forward to you guys to listen to this episode. And remember, everyone who's sharing these episodes, I truly appreciate it. When you take that extra moment to leave a review, it means a whole heap because it does give more credibility. It helps promote and create trust to people who stumble across the podcast for the first time.
You're listening to the Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to the Man That Can Project.
So, Maddie, I'm so stoked that we have been able to make this happen, mate. I've been watching you for a very long time with your Porn to Purpose program. I see you do the 5-day programs and everything like that, but you're obviously a pornography, abstinence, and accountability coach. How the hell did you get there? Because we had a guest on last week, Cam Fraser, who's a sexologist and sex coach and all of that. And I'm like, how do you even get down that field? So it'd be cool to hear your story on how you got there.
Yeah, Lucky. Thanks so much for having me here today, brother. It's an honor to be here. I've been watching you from afar as well. And yeah, brother, I've been, involved in personal and spiritual development work for over a decade now. Just kind of part of my own journey, investing in coaches and mentors and doing my own work. And, over the past 5 years or so, I've been feeling called to move into coaching and moving into some form of service myself. I'm also an ordained Buddhist minister, mindfulness counselor, and chaplain. I've done work in prisons and hospitals and stuff like that as well. So I've kind of been on the path of coaching and service for quite some time now. And a couple years ago, when I really decided to go full in with my coaching work and my service work, I was working to identify, what problems have I solved for myself and what problems am I really qualified to help others resolve in their own lives. And taking a look back through my journey, porn and sex was a big theme for me throughout my life. And at one point in my own journey, I began with my relationship with pornography, back in my teens. I'm in my 30s now. So, porn was like a 20-year journey or so for me. So at one point in my own journey, I actually ended up working with a coach and getting into community, getting to much more powerful accountability around my own relationship with porn and working to get it resolved for myself. So as I moved into the coaching space and really decided to go in on this work full time for myself, I kind of put those two things together, recognizing that so many men deal with, pornography on their own, kind of in the background, in the shadows of life. There's a lot of shame around it. There's a lot of embarrassment around it. A lot of guys don't really feel comfortable coming forward around this. And so for me, it was just very obvious that this was the area I was going to dig in on because, porn is really at the surface of the issue. Below that, there's a lot of the personal and spiritual development work that we get to do. So it all ties into what I'm very passionate about and ties into a big need for men globally.
You hit on some few very cool points there. I love the fact that it came off the back of some things that you've experienced in your own life. I'm a massive believer. We can definitely learn a lot through science and research and all of that sort of stuff. But for me personally, to resonate with someone and to want to be mentored by someone, I feel that I would love them to have walked in the shoes that I'm currently about to embark on that journey of, because there's a big separation between logic and emotion, and obviously emotion is what keeps a lot of us stuck, right? So being able to have someone that can go, hey, I felt that same way, and this is how I overcame those feelings of, shame and guilt and everything like that that you mentioned. But what do you feel a lot of blokes carry shame and guilt? Because, I was introduced to porn at 13, and I remember the first time that I was given a DVD, so this is showing my age there as well, but given a DVD from the boarders, obviously the boarding school gave us a DVD. I went home to watch it, and I felt sick the first time I saw it. And I remember, pulling because I had to watch it in the car. We had a DVD player in the car, so I snuck down there to watch it, and I walked halfway back up the hallway, and I was like, come on, mate, harden the fuck up. All the boys are watching this. You need to be able to sit through it so you can talk about it on Monday. And I forced myself into that, but I guess, I felt almost guilty that I couldn't watch it in the beginning. And obviously it's then flipped around because, the rabbit hole that you can go down is pretty wild. So what are some of the, I guess, common reasons why blokes experience shame and guilt that you've experienced?
That's a good question, brother. And I've been asked this question before, and I think for me it comes down to two reasons. I think first and foremost is that not everyone experiences the shame and guilt around it. Some people are able to maintain a healthy relationship with it. Maybe it's kind of something that doesn't really take a hold of them like it does for a lot of guys, for a lot of people, and a lot of women engage in pornography as well, and they don't seem to experience near the shame and guilt that a lot of men do around it. But I think for one reason, for some of us, it's just out of integrity with who we're called to be and how we're called to show up. So it's like we all have that higher knowing, that higher voice, which calls us to live our lives a certain way. And I think when we're acting out of integrity or out of alignment with that higher knowing, we just inherently experience this shame, this guilt, and these kind of adverse feelings and emotions. So I think for one reason, I think because it's out of alignment for some of us, it's out of integrity for some of us. And secondly, and I think maybe this is a reason that probably will resonate with a lot of people, is a lot of us have a lot of negative conditioning around our sexuality. Maybe it started at a young age. Maybe it started with a religious upbringing, which seems to be very common. So I think a lot of us have been taught, have learned that our sexuality is something that is dirty, unhealthy, and something we have to kind of repress. So I think a lot of us carry a lot of unhealthy energy around our sexuality in general. So whenever we're engaging in pornography regularly, I think it shows up there.
And how would someone that is experiencing that, how would they then look to move through those negative thought patterns around that? Because, I believe and that's why I'm super stoked to have you on here, because it's a conversation that I want to be listening into more and being a part of. But I also think there's many blokes out there, many people out there that are also, have questions, have thoughts, have wants, needs, and desires that aren't really being discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you? Sorry.
So no, it's okay. So the question is, what do people do to move through those feelings of shame and all that kind of stuff?
Correct.
Well, I think for a lot of guys, they just know that porn isn't right for them. So if they continue to engage in that behavior, they're probably going to continue to have those adverse emotions, feelings, and reactions to it. But beyond that, I think there's work that can be done around our sexuality, learning to create a healthier relationship with ourselves and begin to change those stories that we have around the relationship with our sexuality. For me, I felt sexually unhealthy, sexually awkward for a lot of my life while pornography was present. But once I was able to remove what I found the toxicity of porn from my life, I wasn't able to begin doing that healing. Once I did remove that, there was a natural healing and a natural correction that began to occur around my sexuality. I began to accept myself more, love myself more, and be more comfortable with myself and in my own sexuality. So I think the toxicity of porn may contribute to that. It may not go away until we're maybe willing to address that and remove that from our lives.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned the toxicity. What would you say would be a toxic relationship with, pornography? Because first, probably a question before that, do you feel that pornography and porn use should be just a complete no-no, or where do you where do you sort of sit with that?
Yeah, so I don't take a hardline approach to that. Again, I think people in more religious circles, they do take a more hardline approach, like all porn is bad, it's a sin, it's just inherently wrong. I don't take that approach. I really invite each people to kind of explore their own relationship with pornography. I run into a lot of people, again, women as well, couples, and people who just kind of have a more casual relationship with porn, that it's just like alcohol. Lucky, it's kind of like some people can have a couple drinks and they're fine. Or some people can even enjoy, drugs recreationally, and it's not an issue for them. For some people, porn is really this toxic thing. So I think you have to really explore that for yourself. Some people are able to maintain a healthy relationship with it. Again, some people are able to enjoy it within relationships, and they don't have these adverse feelings and associations around it. I think what's really key is we have to explore for ourselves, what is our relationship with it? Is it a compulsive relationship? Is it having a negative effect on our lives? Is it impacting our relationships? Are we going to porn throughout the day and then we get home in the evening and we don't desire to connect with our partner, for instance, or do we know that porn is out of integrity for us or out of alignment for us, and it's impacting us in terms of our calling in life or the way that we're called to maybe show up and lead others in our life? So, or maybe whenever we use porn because we're using it so regularly or because of the nature of the stuff that we're looking at, it's creating these feelings of shame, of guilt, of remorse, of fear, of anxiety in our lives. And there's just kind of really unhealthy after effect of it. So I think we have to really take a look at our own journey and explore what is our personal experience with it and what is the impact of it in our lives and what's the effect of it.
Appreciate that answer. I love that you throw it back on people to take ownership for sort of where it sits for them rather than just being like, nah, this is the only way. I think that was awesome for me to hear as well. When you think about, and you were saying it can be there to sort of cover up, deeper things, much like alcohol, drugs, any really addiction, even exercise to a degree can be that form of, cover up from dealing with greater challenges or issues. For those people who are going, or like might be listening here now, because there will be many people out there that go, I think that's me, right? So what would be the next step? I know you've got an incredible Facebook group and you do coaching, but throughout all of the stuff that you run through, like how do you help the people who have acknowledged and recognized that, yes, it's a problem for them, it's wreaking havoc in their relationships and other areas of their life? How do you sort of lead them to get out the other side? Is it just like cut it dry and never be done with it? Is it changing and replacing habits, or what does that all look like?
Yeah, we do have a formula that we use. We actually call it the Freedom Framework, where it's really worked to help men make real lifestyle shifts and identity shifts, and also creating greater levels of awareness around the needs that they've been attempting to meet by going to porn, and how to meet those needs in a healthier way, and replacing the old habits with new. So there is a process that we take our men through. But I think the first step, Lachie, is really, if you've identified for yourself, and we could talk a little bit about some of the key things that we look for whenever, like, trying to gauge for ourselves, is it an issue for me? We could talk about that as well. But if we have identified for ourselves, usually we just know. If we're willing to be honest with ourselves, we just kind of know, is this cool with me or not? Yeah. If we're willing to be honest. But the first step, I think, Lachie, is really to get into community around it and get into accountability around it. If we can get into community around it, porn is one of those things that we often deal with in the shadows, in the darkness by ourselves. It's a very lonely journey. So getting into community allows us, maybe for the first time ever, to begin sharing something that's been a very lonely journey for much of our lives with others. And we begin to kind of neutralize the energy around it. We begin to talk about it, share about it, open up, and begin to recognize that we're not the only ones with this issue. And I think it just begins to normalize it for us and allows us to begin doing some of that deeper exploration for ourselves. So community and accountability are the first steps, I think, to beginning to open up that can for ourselves. And
what's the name of your Facebook group? So for people who are looking for that community, I know you run an incredible community. Where can people find that, just quickly while we're there?
Yep. Porn to Purpose on Facebook is the name of our private group of men from around the world.
Yep. And within that community, so obviously, you sort of led to that direction, that's a place where you start allowing, or it sort of holds that space for blokes to have those conversations. And what I encourage for people who may be wanting to get involved with it, but sort of sitting on the fence out of fear or anything like that, is you don't always have to initially engage in what's been spoken about or what's been offered. But if you can be even a fly on the wall, sometimes, seeing what other people are experiencing can have you to sit there going, geez, I'm not alone in that thing, which builds your confidence to then be able to, acknowledge it and even accept it to move through it.
Yes, I think just coming into the community, as you mentioned, being a fly on the wall and just kind of observing that other people are out there. Some of the guys come in and they're really vulnerable. That's kind of like, that was kind of part of my journey. Whenever I came out and just started sharing publicly on my Facebook profile about my journey, that gave other people permission to then share their journey and reach out to me and feel safe in sharing. And beyond that, I think it's important that you find a community that is loving, and warm and non-judgmental. We don't take that hard line, that approach. Our only criteria is that, we're looking for men of character, that are willing to extend the same non-judgment that they'd want to receive in their own journey. So finding a community that's open, warm, loving, and non-judgmental is really important, I think, to creating that safe container for guys to come in and maybe begin doing some of that own sharing and exploration for themselves.
That's awesome. So, gents, I'd highly recommend getting in there. It's much like how we run our community, like it's that same approach. If you're not quite ready to engage or accept certain things, just continue to be a fly on the wall until, it's a lot of stuff's about timing. But if you are aware that you've got things that are holding you back in life, the only way you're going to ever overcome it is by addressing it, right? Grabbing the bull by the horn. So if you can get in a place where it's sort of a topic of conversation, it makes it a whole heap easier to address with it. But if it's still something that is not spoken about regularly, then you're going to deal with a whole heap more of emotional challenges that are going to hold you back from creating that change that you're looking for. But from yourself, you said you had a 20-year period, which is I'd say most blokes, apart from those coming from potentially religious circles or stuff like that, who are introduced to it from an early age, probably have a really long-standing relationship. But from your own experience, Matty, what were some of the things that, you utilizing porn too much and having a toxic relationship with it, what did it really cost you, and what did you miss out on from, if you were looking back?
Yep. So a handful of things, man. I think to start, Lachie, was my relationship with myself, my own sense of integrity, the way in which I was just showing up in life, my sense of deservability, my relationship with the man looking back at me in the mirror, my sense of self-respect, self-confidence, my sense of integrity. I didn't like myself very much. And it was affecting, besides my relationship with myself, it was affecting all the ways in which I was showing up in life. I think primarily one of the big things for me was, again, connecting with my sense of purpose, the work I felt called to be doing. I felt called to be of service with others. I was called to, do some of this chaplaincy work and ministry work that I have done in my past life. I've done work in prisons and hospitals. I didn't feel good showing up to do that work, knowing I had this skeleton in my closet, so to speak. I knew it was something I had to get resolved for myself. So it was acting as a spiritual ceiling of sorts. I felt like that it was inhibiting me from moving in to the man I was called to be in, the life I was called to live, for one thing. And so beyond that, it was affecting me in my relationships. That was a big one, specifically my intimate relationship. Porn, for some people, it gets us off. It throws us off energetically. Women can sense that. Again, you use porn, you masturbate during the day, maybe, for a lot of guys, it's something that you might just do regularly throughout the day. And then, you go to connect, or your partner wants to connect in the evening. One, she can sense you're energetically off. And two, and maybe even bigger, is that, we've already expelled or expended our energy for the day. So we don't really have that desire to connect in the same way. Three, it creates secrecy within the relationship. Oftentimes porn is something that we have to hide. So it's like a big part of ourselves that we're not able to open up oftentimes and share with our partner about. So in our relationships, and then our social relationships, I think porn makes us show up awkwardly when it comes to being social. Often I had a hard time looking people in the eyes, honestly. I found. So my spiritual calling, my sense of purpose, my relationship with myself, my relationships with partners and with women in my life, socially. And then I think just energetically, of course, the way I would show up at work, my sense of productivity. Porn had a way of really sabotaging my momentum. Whether it's like directly, like you're supposed to be working, but you're looking at porn, throughout the day, or maybe you're just zapped and you're energetically drained and you've got this brain fog going on. You can't focus. You're not clear. I think it impacts every major area of our life, Lucky.
Yeah, it definitely has that ripple effect. So where we're looking at, felt like I was just on a turntable. Then I was like, but when we're looking at that initial self, right, like improving that relationship with ourself, the communication, the self-worth, the self-confidence, how does that whole process, like, I guess, if you look at the name of the group and the programs that you run, like Porn to Purpose, like how do you help people find purpose through that? Because there are a lot of people roaming around, that feel unfulfilled, that lack purpose, that lack direction. And that's probably one of the main reasons why they fall back into, habits like pornography or alcohol misuse and recreational drug use, etc., because there isn't something almost bigger than themselves to keep them motivated and driving forward.
Yeah. So, this idea of Porn to Purpose came to me because it really spoke to my own journey around pornography. For one, as I mentioned, porn was impacting, I think, me connecting with or stepping into my sense of purpose, my calling in the world. So it really speaks now to the journey that we take men on as they work to liberate themselves from pornography. So a big piece of the freedom framework, which I mentioned earlier, is the why. It's like, in order to really create any sort of significant change in our lives, we have to have a powerful reason, a powerful motivator. And for us in our work, we break the why down into two pieces. The first part of the why, and this really speaks to like the process we take our men through over a 90-day period. The first part of the why is the pain or the prison of where we currently are and what we're moving away from. So we spend several weeks, like initially, like really getting clear. How is porn affecting me? What's been the impact? What's been the cost? What's been the toll on me and my life and in the different areas of my life? And what am I no longer willing to tolerate for myself? So what am I moving away from? What's the pain? And then the second piece of that, we spend just as much time or more in our process really helping men connect and say, all right, well, if I'm going to say no to the porn, what am I going to say yes to? What am I called to do? Like, how am I called to serve? Who am I called to serve? Like, if I could wave a magic wand and create really a life by design, like what would that look like for myself? So we help men connect with a greater sense of purpose. I think we all have it in us, Lachlan. I think for some of us, we've stifled it and maybe it's just a small little ember burning inside of us, but I think it's all there. We all have dreams. We all have hopes. We all have desires. We all have superpowers. We all have genius. And I think we're here to allow that to express, and to contribute through that. So helping men connect with a greater version or a greater vision for themselves, a greater vision for their lives. Like, I need a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Because if we don't have that greater vision or sense of purpose, as you mentioned, then why give up the porn? Why give up the alcohol? Why give up the junk food? Why get out of bed in the morning? So that purpose, that why, that vision is crucial in the long-term journey of really helping us go the distance and making the change lasting as we make these shifts.
I love that, mate. It's interesting when you think about when we're looking to remove a habit from our life, like you said, whether it's the junk food, the pornography, the alcohol, or anything that's not contributing to a better life for ourselves. Because I couldn't agree more with what you said there, where I believe we all have superpowers and we can literally create the life that we want. Especially, I think, now is the most exciting time than ever before in human history for us to go after what we want. The fact that you and I are connecting over social media and stuff, and we're both, called to something bigger than ourselves, and we get to do what we want for a living and create a lifestyle around that is mind-blowing. And I really believe that everyone should get after that, but sort of peeling it back to what you were saying, it's like it has to start with the self, and you have to connect that to a bigger purpose, or the why, as you mentioned, because that's what's going to really empower you to grow through the challenging moments that are going to really create you into the man that you want to become, or the person, that you want to become, to get the results that you want. And it's you're going to be full of moments of self-doubt, but if you're prepared to work through it, like, you can literally be, do, and have whatever you want. You've just got to get really clear on what that is and why that is important to you. And I guess that why can change, right? Like, it's not a set destination. Where I am right now is not where I thought I would be 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and where I think I'm going at the moment may change, which is completely fine. But it's definitely part of that process of diving into that bigger purpose for yourself. What are some things when you're looking at purpose, right? Because it can be scary to think about, fuck, what am I here for? Because for me, when I think purpose, I always go to like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, because they're just like the most spoken about entrepreneurs making huge change in the world. But it doesn't have to be that big. And everything's big in context and relativity to an individual. But what are some good starting points for someone who's sitting there going, and I don't have any purpose? Like, obviously, aside from going back to start with self, like, what would be some actionable steps that people could go through?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so a lot of the men that come into our community, they deal with the same question. And I've actually developed an exercise, and it's really the first step that we begin taking the guys through to begin to uncover this for themselves. And the exercise is called Dream Like a Little Kid. And it's a really simple journaling exercise. Like, little kids have no problem telling you what they want to be when they grow up, right? But it's like, through becoming an adult and being conditioned through the world, we kind of forget that, or we smash it all down, and we get practical, and we get serious, and we get realistic, and we find the job to pay the bills like we're taught to do, so we kind of push all that stuff down. But I believe it's all in there. So one of our exercises is really just to kind of gently and playfully begin to say, all right, like, let's just use our imagination. And we use this really big, crazy hypothetical, say, let's just pretend, all right, that you have $100 million in the bank. So money's no object for the rest of your life. Time, you can do whatever you want and spend your time however you want and live however you'd like. Like, what would you do with your time? And we take them through a series of questions like, what would I be doing? Where would I live? Like, who would I spend my time with? Like, what activities would I explore? How would I love to show up and be of service and support of others? What's really interesting is maybe someone can't connect with purpose, but if you ask people what are you really good at? What do you love? What if when you do it, what is it that when you do it, time seems to stop and you're actually energized when you do it, and you could do it for hours and you do it regardless of whether you're getting paid or not. Like, what are you really good at that you've always just kind of always had a special knack for? Like, helping people connect with their genius, with their superpowers. We've all got it. And we've all got, so often when you ask people, Lachie, like, what would you like to do? So often the response is, well, I'd love to just help people. A lot of people go there. You know what I mean? That's like a very common answer. So we all have this natural desire to give, to contribute, to serve. And we all have these natural talents, skills, abilities, superpowers, genius. And let's just playfully begin to explore that with no holds bars. If it could be anything, what would it be? That's how we begin to uncover that, Lachie.
I love that, man. Just even being a part of that conversation gets me so excited. And this is, guys, going back to community, the reason why I'm so intentional with who I spend time with is because if you hang out with people like Maddie and the blokes that I'm sure are part of your community and vice versa, the part of my community, you get to have conversations like this regularly. So if you hit a roadblock or a challenge or a few weeks of low motivation, all you have to do is pick up the phone, drop a DM, and it's like you're back with that fire lit inside you to continue pursuing whatever it was that you were working towards. Like, I truly believe it's one of the reasons why I'm so consistent in doing what I'm doing, because I have I get to have conversations like this every single week, and I've got incredible people around me that I can just sit here and listen, and I'm just ready to rumble 10 times over. And going back to that ability to dream, like, it's so sad that we fucking lose that, man. Like, you're exactly right that children have there's nothing holding them back from telling you everything that they're going to achieve, and you're almost like, yeah, right, okay. And when someone who, I'm 30 might say that to you, like, yeah, right, I dream on, mate, good luck. But when someone says that to me, I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard, and I can't wait to watch the journey. I know it's not going to be easy. You might have moments, but the fact that you're pursuing that just makes me feel young, It's bloody brilliant. So, gentlemen, start doing that. I would obviously recommend jumping into Maddie's group to go through that process, definitely, because obviously, like we've said earlier, a lot of things you can figure out, right? Definitely you can figure out. But when you go to someone who's walked the path that you're wanting to walk, it fast tracks it. And for like last week's podcast, when we were talking about mortality, like, we only got a limited amount of time on here. So you really want to maximize every minute. That's why, for me, I have 3 coaches at the moment, just purely because there's different things that I need to be working on, and life gets busy, my focus gets stolen, so I need to be held accountable, and I need to kick up the ass pretty much weekly to make sure I'm doing what I have, put out there that I want to achieve. Maddie, when people have dared to dream, like, what would that next step be? And I won't steal all your gold from that, but just that next step. Once people have really started to create what that future could look like for them, and really dreamed like they're a child again, what's the next step for them?
Yeah, Lachlan, I'm happy to share whatever I can here with you today. So we take them just through a really simple step-by-step process. It's like, okay, so once I've now begun to dream, what might that look like in terms of actionable steps? Maybe we take them to a year vision, what is an idea that simultaneously maybe scares me a little bit, but also excites me a little bit for 1 year out? What's a little bit of a stretch? So we take them to a year out. We take them to 3 to 5 years out. We help them connect in one of our exercises, all right, what is my mission statement? We help our men write a mission statement. What am I here to do? How am I here to serve? We help them establish values. What is most important to me above all else? What are my values, and what am I super committed to in this life? So just incrementally, just kind of moving into these different exercises. One exercise we do, Lockie, is a vision board. And maybe for guys like you and me who have done a lot of this work, a vision board seems like, manifestation 101, personal development 101. I've done probably 10 iterations of mine.
Yep.
But some people have never done that, but it's just another playful exercise to begin to lay out in visual format. Here's what I'm about. Here are my values. Here's what's important to me. Here's what I'm working toward. I'm going to put this by my bed and in my bathroom, and I'm going to look at it every day, and just begin to move toward that. Another piece of the puzzle, so kind of getting strategic around, what's just a really bite-sized, easy step in moving toward that? How do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's not like I have to conquer the whole vision now, but what's one easy step I could take toward that today? What's one little victory I could create around that today? And also, a big part of our process, Lockie, is helping men get into power, helping them really get into a great energetic state. So we teach our men what we call the core 4, and different people have different versions of the core 4. I've kind of gotten that idea from another mentor that I've worked with in the past, but our core 4 is a commitment every single day, and all of our guys that go through our program are held accountable to this, to just 15 minutes of exercise, meditation, reading, and writing. So just helping them get into their power, helping them get into state and begin to, a little bit every day, grow in mind and body and in spirit. And whenever we get into a more powerful place, then taking those little steps every single day are much more easy and manageable, So those are a couple pieces toward moving toward that vision, Lockie.
Those core 4 are brilliant, and I'm a massive believer in exercise and the meditation. So even going to the writing part, I'm to be honest, I'm pretty inconsistent with it. I'll go through bouts where I journal daily and just write stuff down. And to be honest, I was literally only thinking about this a couple of days ago. I was like, I feel so much better when I practice writing, and there's never really any intent. It might be just a brain dump. It might be to tell a story that I've experienced, but I feel so much better when I do that. But for purely just ill discipline. I haven't maintained that practice. But from your experience with writing, why do you believe that is a powerful tool for people?
And it's just such a really like a powerful outlet. It's like it clears the mind. I think it's a stress relief. It allows us to get what we're carrying inside out. It slows the mind down. Again, it clarifies our thinking. Now, in application to our program, Lachie, we're a mindfulness-based process. So we teach mindfulness and meditation. So we help men kind of become more aware of the thoughts and the feelings that they're experiencing, which are oftentimes causing them or prompting them to go to porn. But another piece of that mindfulness process is journaling. So we have a series of exercises that we take men through that really help them kind of slow down and go back and do some self-reflection and even dialogue with themselves around their relationship with porn. What were some of their original wounds, and all kind of different stuff that we do. But journaling and writing is a very self-reflective process. It's a very personal process. And for the first time, we can kind of begin to dig in and explore some of this territory that we've never taken a look at before. So for all those reasons, it's really brilliant. And there's a ton of different journaling, exercises. I'm sure you've got some great ones yourself.
Yeah, definitely. That was awesome to get that and help me put into words what I was sort of thinking. I find as well I had an experience at a workshop a few years ago where I had a gentleman come to one of our workshops, and a lot of blokes, from my experience, have struggled with communication because they can't really articulate how they're feeling or what they're really thinking. And I went through that myself. And so I was like, righto, mate, pull out your phone. We're going to do a Facebook Live. Just throw you straight in the deep end. And you're just going to talk about why you're even doing the live and see what happens, see what comes out. And he went out on the street and did it. He comes back in about 7 minutes later. I fucking hate you, mate. You made me embarrass myself in front of everyone. I stuttered, I stumbled, and I was like, mate, this is the exact reason why you need to do that. Maybe not Facebook Live, but film, video or journaling, because once you get it out of your head onto paper, or once you get it out and you can watch it back, you can then correct yourself or look for ways that you can improve, whether it's through how the words that you're using or the speed that you're talking with. And that's how you become better. Like, that's how you can literally improve your ability to go into, negotiation, any form of communication. But because we look at ourselves and go, I'm a terrible communicator, I can't, really explain how I feel. Well, it's like, just try. Because if you try, you're going to build upon it brick by brick. But I guess the intention of sharing that is I just want people to start realizing that you don't have to do that in a public scenario. Journaling is a great place to start to improve your communication, so you can gain a greater understanding on what's happening up in the head. Because if you never try, you're never going to improve it. It's just like walking into the gym for the first time. The first time you do that, you don't even know the difference between a dumbbell and a barbell. And then after a while, you can go in there, pump out a quick, intense session, do everything you need to do, and walk out without even really thinking about it. So it's just practice. It's just being open to trying new things. And I think also I had, even as you spoke about with meditation and journaling, I never wanted to do that. I was very closed-minded with that. I had my own opinions of what kind of people I believed used those tools and what purpose it served, and I thought I was better and different than that. But the more I've learned about myself and the more I've looked to try and improve who I am as a person, these tools are the ones that continue to pop up. Like whether it's from people like Elon Musk talking about it, or other people that I really respect, even like yourself. It's just that a lot of it comes back to meditation, exercise, journaling. All of these sorts of things that are simple to do and they don't cost anything. Maybe a notepad, but they're also very easy to neglect.
Mm-hmm.
But so,
yeah,
you go.
That stuff's always the easiest thing to throw out the door, especially when we're feeling busy or overwhelmed, and those are the harder choices to make, but oftentimes the ones that pay off the most.
Definitely. And this time's flying, but where do you see yourself going? Like, where is Porn to Purpose going, and where do you see yourself going over the next sort of 12 to 24 months, Matty?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me. So my vision for the community, our vision for the community is to build a worldwide community of 10,000 men.
I love that.
So just continuing to grow our community, to serve our community. And so we are helping men, resolve this relationship with porn in their lives. But I think what we're also doing is we're doing deeper personal and spiritual development work. So it's really like my contribution to the world, raising consciousness, like helping people to love themselves more and to show up more like the versions of themselves they're called to be. So just grow and expand our community and serve our clients as much as possible and help them, step into the versions of themselves that they're called to be. Just grow, brother, every day.
It's an exciting thing to I'm looking forward to continuing to watch it unfold. And I think we're definitely very similar in that regard, because, ultimately, you're on the path where you get to do what you love for a living, and, you feel the fulfillment from seeing other people achieve, growth in themselves. And it's a great way to live, definitely. And to then be able to continue to find ways to expand that reach and expand the impact that you have is something that excites the shit out of me. And I'm, as for you, it's the same. One last question. Actually, I got a few, but one important one, which I never prep anyone for because I love putting people on the spot and getting the real honest one, is what's your definition of being a man?
Oh, man, that's a good one. Well, brother, I'm still figuring that out. To be honest. For a lot of my life, I felt like a little boy inside still. And I think even just over the past couple years, I'm starting to step into that. To me, what I understand of being a man is being a man of integrity, a man of impeccability in his word, a man that shows up and honors his word, and is willing to step into the unknown and serve in the ways in which he's called to serve. But I think one of the biggest things, man, is just being a man of integrity, being a man of our word, being a man of a person of honor, a person of fortitude, someone that is committed to taking another step every single day and being a little bit better every single day and honoring others in the process.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And the reason why, and for those who listen every week, they know the reason exactly why I asked on the spot, because we're all so unique and have different ideas of what it means. And I think that everything that each individual shares will resonate with some bloke out there, rather than thinking we need to fit to the general stereotype of what that once meant. But Matty, where can people find you? Obviously, you've got the Facebook community, Porn to Purpose, but what upcoming programs do you have? I know you've got a podcast as well. Like, where can people sort of tap into more of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, thanks so much for asking, Lucky. So Porn to Purpose is our Facebook community. That's going to be the easiest place to find us and me and the work that we're doing. We've got a lot of great content and community going on over there. Otherwise, you can send me an email directly if you're looking for more direct or immediate support. You can email me at makingpeacewithporn@gmail.com. That's a great, easy way to connect as well.
Awesome. I'll attach all of those links there so you guys can just click and away you go, rather than having to type that out, even though it's not a big deal. But yep. Matty, mate, I appreciate. What time is it there, by the way?
For me, it is Thursday evening, December 2nd at 7:44 p.m.
Oh, epic. I love that we're ahead of time. I can tell you tomorrow morning is going to be amazing for you. It's going to be fun.
Oh, beautiful, brother.
Yeah, you're going to love it. But I appreciate you jumping on. I know you've got so much experience and knowledge, and I just wanted to obviously recognize the work that you're doing, because there's conversations that you're leading the charge with that, myself am not involved with as much, but I think are very important conversations in helping men get better and maximizing their life. So I appreciate you sort of leading the front with that. And for everyone who's listened and taken away value, remember, share this with mates that will get value from it, or people in your life that will get value. Reach out to Matty, get it, become a part of his community and find out everything that he's doing there, because I think as well, just another thing to share is, prevention is better than cure. So as I always say with what we do, like, we're not here to, people think that we're the community to come to when blokes are broken. I disagree. We're the community for blokes to come to who just want to keep getting better, much like when we I don't even know where my phone is. When we upgrade our phone every year, it's not because your phone doesn't work. You just want the newer model, the shinier camera and all that sort of stuff. And that's the way we've got to, I think, look at ourselves, is when we're becoming a part of communities like this or getting involved in self-development. It's not because we're rubbish and we're broken. It's because we want to get better. We want to achieve more from our life. And that's the fucking coolest thing to be a part of. So, Matty, thanks again for your time, mate. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Lucky, it's an honor to be here, brother. Thanks so much for having me. You're a great host, and really appreciated the conversation today.
Epic. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.